literally talking so fast, I need to calm down. My voice keeps going all funny. We're fine. It's fine. We're fine. Hi everyone and welcome back to India Rain Rocks. So today's video is kind of inspired by you guys actually, because whenever I post videos or photos after I've met the boys or any other celebrities, I get a lot of comments from people kind of saying like if they were in that situation they'd be really nervous, or they'd shake, or they'd cry, or they ask me specifically like how I don't get nervous and how I act and stay so calm whenever I'm in that sort of environment where I'm meeting a celeb. And I thought I would make a video basically explaining to you guys essentially how to stay calm in like a meet and greet situation with your favourite celebrity, because like I say, so many people comment saying that like I always look to be really calm, or that they don't think they'd be very calm, like they'd probably start shaking and crying. So I'm basically here to like be a big sister to you guys and give you a few tips how you can stay calm in your meet and greet and kind of what to say. So if you would like to know how to stay calm in a meet and greet scenario, then stick around, because that is exactly what we're going to talk about today. So I'm kind of going to do this video in two halves. I'm not going to make it a two-part like mini series, but I'm gonna just like do this one video in two halves. So the first half I'm going to talk about like paid meet and greets that you pay for to meet the artist, and then the other half I'm going to talk about meeting them like just like outside radio stations where you don't pay and you go for free. But before I talk about those, I just want to kind of say about me that, like I said, I get a lot of comments of people saying that I always look to be really calm, and they don't know how I stay like so calm and cool and collected whenever I'm around a celeb. And what I'm going to say to you is I'm actually quite a laid back person when you meet me in real life. And I'm not going to say that I don't get nervous meeting celebrities, because I do, but I'm like so laid back so I kind of don't show the nervous emotion. But what I am going to say is I do 9 times out of 10. I draw a blank whenever I meet someone. Niall, Louis, Harry, Liam, anyone else, I get in front of them and I draw a blank and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm going to say to you. So my first piece of advice to you, and this goes for whether you're meeting them in a meet and greet scenario or whether you're meeting them outside a radio station, just plan one thing that you're going to say to them in your head, like a question. Like, say, 'cause I go to meet Niall at golf quite a lot, so if you're kind of struggling on knowing what to say to Niall in that situation, ask him how he's played that day and how he thinks he's played, how he thinks his team's done, because then you kind of start your conversation and it's quite an easy flowing conversation. So he'll just kind of like jokingly say something back to you, or he might be like, oh, we didn't play very well. So obviously our reaction to that is, you played really well, what do you mean you didn't play well? So you can kind of have a little bit of banter with things like that. But I would suggest thinking of one question you can ask, and this is a mistake that I used to make all the time, and that is scripting what I was going to say. So I remember for my very first Niall meet and greet in Dublin, I basically scripted what I was going to say to Niall, but I'd also scripted his responses. So obviously when I went into the meet and greet and I said what I wanted to say, he went off my script and he didn't say what I thought he was going to say. So then I'd kind of like, you know, I'd hit a wall. I was too nervous to then kind of think about a response that I could give, because I'd planned my like entire conversation with him around what I thought he was going to say, and obviously he didn't say that, because you can't plan what someone else is going to say. So that's why I'd suggest just thinking of one thing and not loads of things, because then you can just focus on that one conversation topic, and honestly it's so much easier. Now the next piece of advice is probably going to sound like really ridiculous, but I'll explain why you need to do this. Basically, if you're sitting in a queue about to meet somebody, meet and greet, radio station, it doesn't matter. If you're about to meet a celebrity or someone you look up to massively, take your mind off that. Like, busy yourself doing other things, like talk to your friends, play a game, do whatever you can do to take your mind off of what's about to happen, like that you're about to meet this person, because the worst thing you can do is sit in silence and just think about everything, because what you end up thinking about is things that could go wrong, and that just makes things so much worse. It makes you so much more nervous. It literally just like, you're like thinking the worst in your head that's not gonna happen. So what I'd suggest is literally, like, if you're with your friends or even just people that you've met there, just try and like busy yourselves and keep your mind off what's gonna happen, so then when you like do something fun or funny, so you're like in a really good mood and you feel like you're really lifted spirits and stuff. So if you can like keep your mind off meeting them, and then by the time you get to meeting them you're in this like really light mood, it just makes the whole meeting experience so much easier. I can't even explain it, but it just really does. Like, whenever I'm going to use another golf example. Whenever I go to golf, like, my main focus of the day is not to try and meet Niall at the end. My main focus of the day is to have a really good time with my friends. So I do all stupid things when I'm at golf. Like, I'll get piggybacks around the course. I'll like just do and say silly things to my friends. I'll like heckle Niall and say something to Niall and like have a conversation with him when he's on the golf course. And then if we are lucky enough to actually meet him on the golf course, then it just makes like the whole conversation lighter, because it's just like you've had a really good day, so you like feel good inside. So that's another piece of advice I'd give. Just keep your mind off it and keep busy, but like do something that's like going to make you really happy and keep your energy lifted, basically. Another thing that I'm gonna say to you now is the most important thing that you have to remember in these situations is that the person you're about to meet is literally just like we are. Like, it is just another human being. The only reason why they're ever so slightly different is because everybody knows who they are. Do you know what I mean? So like, I remember at one golf, my friends had like bought something for Niall that they thought he would like love, and he did. They gave it to him and he absolutely loved it. Before they gave it to him, they were a bit nervous as to how they were going to give it to him, because we were on a golf course. To get another golf thing. Apparently I go to watch golf a lot. As we know, if you look on my channel, you've seen a lot of golf videos. Basically, they had something for Niall that they wanted to give to him, and they didn't know when to give it to him, because obviously they didn't really want to give it to him as they were going round, but they weren't like sure when they could give him this like present that they got him. So they were like talking about it, and my mum was there, and we were all sort of saying, you know, what are we going to do with this like present? And my mum said, just ask him when you can give it to him. And they were like, oh, we can't do that. And my mum was like, no, you can do that. He's literally just a guy, he's a normal person, you can ask him a question and he'll answer. So then it kind of like clicked for them, and they were like, yes, we can just ask him a question and he will just answer, because he is literally just a normal guy. And he said it himself so many times, he is a normal person with an abnormal job, and he's totally right. Like, he literally is like the most normal guy you will ever meet, ever. And like, that's what happened. They basically shouted over to him and said, when can I give you this? And he said, give me at the end. And that's what happened. They gave him the present at the end. He loved it. And it was just like this whole like stressful situation that they'd kind of made up in their mind that they didn't need to make, because all they needed to do was just ask him a question. And that's all you need to do. Literally just treat them like you treat your best friend. Like, obviously I know a lot of people like tend to get a bit shaky, get a bit anxious when they're meeting their favourite celebrities, which is totally normal. I mean, I get like that still sometimes. And, you know, you kind of have to think of it like you're just going to meet your friend for like lunch or something, or to go shopping. You kind of have to treat them like that, because then it just like, it makes it easier for you as well, because obviously they're used to kind of seeing fans crying and stuff like that, and they're really good at comforting them. But it's just like the anxiety kind of goes away if you treat them like you would a best friend type thing. And that's how Louis acts as well. Like, Louis treats everyone like his best friend, and that's why everyone's so chill around Louis, because he knows how to kind of act around the fans to make sure everyone's really comfortable. Niall does the same when he was in his meet and greets. If he noticed people were nervous, he'd start a conversation with them, and it does make the anxiety go away if they kind of recognise that you're nervous. But if you can kind of get the nerves out of your system yourself, it does just make everything flow easier, the conversation flows easier, and it's just nicer for you, because obviously it's not nice having an anxious feeling, is it? It's just, you just gotta be nice and zen. Just be nice and calm and chill, and please treat these people like normal people, because that is all they are. Just because we know them from like TV or radio or whatever, they're literally just normal people. What I am going to say as well is you do need to be mindful about everyone else who's there to meet the celebrity, because say you go to a radio station, and obviously a lot of the time when an artist goes to a radio station it's because they're doing promo for something, and if they're doing promo they have a very tight, very strict schedule as to what time they need to be arriving places and what time they need to be leaving places, and then there's like times in between where they like go to and from one place. So you do have to be very, very mindful of not only their schedule but also the people around you, because the people around you are obviously there for the exact same reason you are. They're there to try and meet their favourite celebrity, and that is absolutely fine. Especially if it's radio stations, you know, they kind of come to expect seeing fans there. TV stations are the same as well. So what I would suggest is try and like keep the conversation to a minimum, because you have to be mindful about their schedule as well. Like, they're not going to be rude and not speak to you. Like, obviously they want to talk to their fans, they want to give as much time as they can, but they're also very aware of their schedule, so their security will kind of rush them along and kind of keep them going down the line, because they don't want them to be late for anything. So obviously then that puts them behind schedule and it gets all very complicated and very annoying. So if it does come to like your turn meeting them, like obviously you can still ask them a question, that's fine, but like keep the conversation to an absolute minimum. Unless you know for a fact that they haven't really got a lot going on that day, then obviously they will kind of make the time themselves. But you do have to remember like to keep it as a very like, hi, how are you? I'm good, thank you for the picture, okay, bye. And that's it. Like, try not to like converse with them too much, because obviously there's other people around you that want to meet them as well, and then it gets upsetting for them if it's getting closer and closer to their turn, and then at some point the celeb has to turn around and say, look, I have to go because I'm running late, and then obviously someone's like down the other end of the line crying. Keep the conversation very brief, very quick, and you should be absolutely fine. If you're in a meet and greet situation though, that's quite different, because then that's the artist time that they are actually giving you and you're paying for that experience. So with my Niall meet and greets, obviously I was the one that had to start the conversation with him, because I know him. Like, we all know our favourite celebrities like inside out, but they don't know us really at all. So you kind of have to like start the conversation off, and then they'll like bounce off you in a way, so then you end up bouncing off each other, and the meet and greet's always really fun and it's really great. Like, my best meet and greet with Niall was probably in Florida. I'll link it up here somewhere so you can go like listen to my experience basically, because it was literally such an amazing meet and greet, and I'm like so grateful to him for like taking the time that he did with me and my mum that day. But even in meet and greet situations you still have to be mindful of the time, because even though they're kind of dedicating like a set time, they still have to get through a certain amount of people. So obviously, because everyone's paid, they want to get through everyone and make sure everyone's like getting what they paid for. So you do still have to be mindful of that, but you do have more time to kind of have a conversation with them, because they've dedicated like a big section of time to meet and be with their fans, whereas at a radio station they obviously don't really take that into account, because they're thinking about like where they're going to be going from one place to the next. And then obviously if they can meet fans in between they will, but there's been times with both Niall and Louis where they've had that much of a busy schedule, they've basically had to go into the radio station and come back out and be like, look, I'm really sorry but I can't meet anyone because I'm running really late and we need to get to the next place. And obviously at the time it's really annoying and you can be really annoyed, but then you kind of have to do take into consideration, like I've said already, that they do have a very tight schedule, so you just need to be like totally understanding of that. And obviously it's not, they don't want to like not meet fans, they don't want to ignore you, they want to meet their fans, they want to thank their fans in any way that they can, but if they have a schedule they have to stick to it, and there's unfortunately nothing they can really do about that. So the next thing I kind of want to talk about is CD signings. Like, I've not been to that many CD signings, but I've been to quite a few, and that is another one where the artist is kind of taking time out of their day to meet fans, but they're a bit harder to kind of organise than a meet and greet, because a meet and greet is kind of organised by the artist and their team, whereas a CD signing is obviously also organised by the artist and their team, but they've got the other people that they have to take into consideration, who are the people that are basically like letting the artist use their venue to do the CD signing. Because I remember when Liam was doing CD signings for his album, I remember people were very like, oh, it was literally just a picture, sign the CD and go, and we got no time with him, and they were complaining a little bit about that, which I can see the annoyance of that. Obviously you're paying money to meet a celebrity, so I can see why people would be annoyed, but what you have to remember is, like, the CD signing, I think it was only like 2 hours long, and he had about 1,000 people, maybe more, to meet. So obviously if you like do the math of that, that's 500 people an hour, and that is a lot of people that he has to get through. So obviously with a CD signing you have to be mindful that they've obviously only hired like the venue for a very certain amount of time, and it's a very limited amount of time. So again, it's not that they don't want to meet fans, they obviously do, or else they wouldn't be doing this signing, but they just have to stick to the schedule, because obviously if they go over the scheduled time that they've agreed to do the signing, then they probably have to pay fines and they'll have to pay more, which obviously they don't want to do. They want to keep the budget as little as possible. So that's why it's very like, sign the CD, take a picture and out. Obviously you can still say hi, how are you, and have a very, very, very short conversation, but that's pretty much it. There's not really anything else you can do. I do just want to say as well, I'm going to link my, up here somewhere, don't know which one, don't know which side it's on. I've linked my Meeting the Boys kind of playlist, so you can watch all of the videos when I met the boys and hear about all my experiences. But I do just want to say that the only places where I go to meet the boys are the ones that are kind of public or that I pay for. So like golf, meet and greet, signings, I pay for all of those, and obviously I go to those. And then radio stations, obviously they're more expectant, like they kind of expect fans to go there. So if you know it's going to be a live broadcast, then obviously they kind of expect fans to be there. But they're the only places that I ever really go, is basically just public areas essentially, and where they kind of confirm themselves that they're going to be. I know I've said it already, but I just want to say it again, because I just want everyone to have a fair chance of meeting their favourite artist, because obviously I know how it feels to not meet them, and it is literally heartbreaking. So please don't blame them, it's totally not their fault. They honestly, they adore meeting their fans. I promise you, they absolutely love meeting everyone. They love hearing people tell them like stories that revolve around them, like I've met my best friend because of you, this song means so much to me, your music means so much to me. They love hearing it. But if they have a strict schedule, they do have to they have to go. I do want to say as well, because I've had a few people in the comments of my videos tell me that if they were ever in a situation where they were going to meet their favourite celebrity, that they don't feel like the celebrity would like them. And honestly, I hate reading comments like that, because I can promise you right now, every single celebrity who you will meet will absolutely adore you, because they adore the support from their fans, and they want to meet as many fans as they possibly can, and they love seeing the amount of support they have, and they love hearing about the amount of support they have. So anyone that thinks that their favourite celebrity will not like them, I promise you they will absolutely adore you to pieces, because you're the one that has put them where they are, and they just want to thank you themselves for that, and their way of thanking you is by meeting you. So honestly, they absolutely adore their fans. They adore everyone they come into contact with. So please don't think they're not going to like you, because I promise you they really, really will. So I think that's pretty much the end of this video. That's all I can think of right now. If there's anything else that I've kind of forgotten to tell you guys, then I might make part 2. And if you guys have any questions that I haven't answered in this video that you want me to answer and talk about a bit more, then leave a comment down below. And again, I will make a part 2 and answer more questions that you may have. But if you haven't already, then subscribe below, as I do so many more videos like this one, and I have Louis tour coming up and so many more live music events this year, so if you want to stick around and see what I got up to at those events, then obviously subscribe, and if you like this video then give it a thumbs up. And that is basically it. I just want to finish this video by telling you all to follow your passion, make it happen, and I'll see you all on Sunday. Bye!